It's another camera! This is the Bell & Howell Canon Canonet 19, and this is the American version of the original Canonet. Everything about it's the same except for some slight design modifications, as far as I can tell. This camera has filled out a pretty big gap in my collection in a few different ways. The stupidest gap it's filled is being a classically colored camera with a silver top plate, leatherette, and silver bottom plate. But this is also the only rangefinder I have. Why is only in quotes, you ask? Well, you'll see in the next video. I think this is the best Canonet Canon has made for one or two reasons. And that's kind of a bold claim to make, especially since this is my first Canonet, let alone rangefinder, that I actually own. But I think I have one or two pretty good reasons. First of all, it has an f1.9 lens, which is one of the faster lenses they've put in one of these cameras. But the thing that really sets this camera apart is this around the lens. This is its selenium light meter, and this allows it to be one of very few Canonets to not need any batteries. So not only does this eliminate the need to find a proprietary battery that no one makes anymore, but also when that battery dies, you don't have to find another one. But enough about why it's great. Let's actually look at the camera itself. Wait, hold it. I forgot to mention literally the most important part of this camera and why it's better than all the other Canonets. Look at this. It is so incredibly cheap. It is the cheapest Canonet you'll find other than maybe the Canonet 28. Blech. Because let's be honest, the new Canonets definitely have features that make them way better than this one. But like, that's a price I can afford, and that's saying something. Because even though I have all these cameras, most of them I got without paying for them. Anyway, carry on. Nearly all of the controls are around the lens. You have shutter at the front, aperture at the back, and the aperture also has an auto mode. That's what the light meter's for. Down at the bottom here, there's a little lever, and that controls your ISO. The ISO only goes up to 200 on this camera, which is unfortunate, but if you're willing to meter manually, then I guess you can do whatever you want. Up here you have flash sync modes for flash bulbs or electric flashes, and then finally down here is your focus ring. And even though I said finally, there is a few extra things. Like up here, you have a switch, which is kind of hard to turn. Shutter lock button, I guess? Turn this to T, and then when you push the button it stays down, and the shutter stays open. All the rest of it, like the film handling, is on the bottom. Here you have the door open button, as well as your wind handle, which has a little thingy that makes it a little easier to actually move. Up here is what you switch to rewind the film, and this is the rewind knob. I forgot also to mention the self-timer that's down here. Yeah, and that's why I don't use it, because it usually jams the shutter. In the viewfinder of this camera, it gives you frame lines that move when you change the focus to compensate for parallax. Down at the bottom of the viewfinder, you have an aperture scale, which uses a needle to show the aperture that it chooses in automatic function. If there's not enough light to actually meter the scene, which we'll get to in a bit, a little red flag pops up in the viewfinder and the needle goes straight to the middle of the aperture scale. Alright, I guess it's a bit now. So the one thing that's annoying about having selenium light cells instead of a CDS cell is that it cannot see very dark. For example, basically any indoor scene you need to meter manually, like some sort of film photographer. Alright, so I've talked about why this is a great model, I've talked about the model itself, and now I need to talk about this one specifically. I bought this camera planning to fix it because it was sold as for parts. And I thought this was going to be easy, like a certain other camera that definitely did not show up in this video, but it was not. Things went fairly swimmingly at the beginning. I had the shutter blades pretty much drenched in alcohol, and when I cycled the shutter, it worked perfectly fine. But as the alcohol started to dry up again, the shutter started to jam again. And after doing something I probably shouldn't have, I cleaned it again, and after doing more research, I realized the blades don't actually need lubrication at all, and by the time I finished researching, enough time had passed for the alcohol to evaporate, and sure enough, when I cycled the shutter, it worked. So, patience is a good thing, but I think the WD-40 kind of messed it up a little bit, because when I use the self-timer, sometimes it doesn't work. It did that time. It's a little sticky sometimes, and it has broken on me many, 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 many times. Sometimes with film in it. So that's fun. I think I have it working semi-reliably now, but we'll see. The self-timer makes me worried. Maybe I'll just never take group photos or something. Oh yeah, and before I forget, this lens has endured a lot, we'll say. I have taken it apart many times, and I failed horribly trying to take out the back elements, so there are many, many scratches and gouges, and there was also fungus in the lenses, so the lenses are in pretty bad shape, but I cleaned out the fungus, and there's nothing I can really do about the scratches and stuff, so I guess I have to call it good enough or get another one for parts. And also, a lot of these cosmetic parts are really scratched up from opening it so many times. So, yeah, I think I should stop talking now. Let's look at some photos from this. As you can see, even though the lens is very beat up, it still renders beautiful images. And I'm not 100% sure I didn't put one of those lens elements in backwards. So I think I've blathered on for far more than long enough about this camera. I think I'll do a separate video about other aspects of this camera, but before that, of course, I need to talk about the other camera. Okay.